Slightly serious, that one Black Eye Time before we get into the fun stuff. I know you guys have probably seen all the LA fires and the amount of devastation that they cause, and I know everybody is a little tight on money. The shit, that's me too, because TikTok going away. I just wanted to quickly talk about two of my friends. I'd call them friends of the show. One of them is a creator on here known as Maddie Swan. Her childhood home burned down on her birthday of all days. She doesn't know I'm doing this, but I want to throw her GoFundMe in this video somewhere because I just feel like I had to do something. I don't know why. I just feel like it's the right thing to do. So I'm putting her GoFundMe in the description. I donated to it. I would hope if you have a few extra, a few dollars lying around, 15 cents in the couch, if you can help out. And I'm also going to quickly shout out my friend Evan from highmedia.gg. That's where you can find all of his stuff. He's a friend of the show. He's had for the reason that anything comes out ever. He really kind of fixed my workflow for content and kind of gave me tutorials on how to edit and how to market and all these other things. He's a really cool dude. He even offered to edit some videos for me one time for free when I get overwhelmed, but I felt bad because I couldn't pay him. And while he didn't start a GoFundMe, he has a website with all of his stuff. He's doing a subathon right now, I believe. So his Twitch, his Discord, all of those things are on his website, highmedia.gg, which I'll also put in the description. This is just a quick little splurge. Onward to the fun stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, the wheel turns and the wheel yearns. Remember, suggestions are open until the end of January. You will basically have influence of this channel until March at this point. Spin that beat, Professor K. What the fuck are we doing? Listen to a few good things. Pretty sure that's an album. Sounds like we got another album review on the way. This can go bad. Then what's the point of trying? Go bad. Then what's the point of it? This can go. I'm so glad that you guys put me on to Saba. So thankful. Absolutely so thankful. It is truly a blessing because this man has got to be one of the most musically well-rounded musicians, specifically rappers, probably in the last 10 years. This is like the second coming of Outkast, dude. This album blew my mind. Basically every problem I had with Care For Me, the minimal amount of problems I had with that album previously, were basically completely dealt with on this album. And even crazier is that this album sounds nothing like Care For Me, at all, but it is still distinctly Saba. Man, fuck. On Care For Me, it seemed like he was pulling more from jazz and punk music, especially for how he was texturing his sound. On this album, it almost feels like he somehow found an intersection between modern rap, right? Classical R&B. I'm talking 1950s to 70s R&B, right? Folk music, and dare I say, Midwestern emo. That's just my take. Because if you listen to those songs, Free Samples, One Way or Every Nigga with a Budget, Circus, 2012 even the final title track, Few Good Things, bro, you can hear it. It's all over this shit. It does not sound like Care For Me at all. However, one thing that it does really well that Care For Me did and all of his music seems to be doing is the texture of the sound. Oh my God. A lot of these tracks, man, it really sound like we have the texture of live vocals on a studio produced beat. It's studio mixing, but you can feel it like a live performance. And it's just such a good form of sound. It's so satisfying to listen to. Even if you find a track that you don't really like as much as the rest of the album, I think I had one track that I don't think I'll go back to. It was If I Had a Dollar. If I Had a Dollar, I didn't really like that much, and it's not even because it's a bad song. It's just, in my opinion, it was the most generic sounding on the entire album, and with an album as good as this, it just didn't hit for me. And one of the things that I liked outside of the direction he's going with his sound is that it's just a much more cohesive vision than Care For Me. A prime example can be seen in how he flipped the beat in the song 2012 directly into the beat of Few Good Things, which is the final song of the album, and it's that shit was pure art. Like that shit was so fucking solid, dude. That transition was just like, damn. And then like on the album, the song Circus is honestly the precursor to both of those songs, and that interlude is halfway through and honestly made me tear up for multiple reasons. That song is short. It's just an interlude called Circus, and the way he was rapping on that song, man, it just reminded me of my own inner monologue, especially with how I remember things. Like it was I don't want to sound like a fucking nerd that doesn't know what they're talking about, even though that's what I sound like all the time, but it gave me a sonic manifestation of what my brain sounds like all the time, specifically when going through my own memories, almost like hearing my internal dialogue, like I said before. I don't know if that makes any sense. That's what I wrote down while I was listening to the song. And if I had to describe his rapping style on this album versus his last album, now he still sounds a lot like Isaiah Rashad to me, especially on the more modern tracks. However, there's a reason I brought up Outkast, dude. This man, he pulls out that Andre 3 Stacks fucking flow, and it's solid, bro. On fucking Soldier, man, oh my gosh. He was killing that shit, dude. He was gliding on the beat, bro. My mind was fucking blown. I keep turning away from the mic. Stop doing that. And compared to Care For Me, you know, where he was mostly talking about coming up, specifically coming up with his cousin, on this album, he's reflecting a lot more on his life as a whole. Like he's going from childhood to teenage years on songs like 2012, all the way to now and into the future. Because he's even talking about like having kids. He's talking about his relatives getting older, more of his relatives dying, and you know how that affects you, the passage of time in general. Like on 2012, he talks about as a kid, even though he was broke, he had everything he needed. He had everyone he needed. He specifically repeats that over and over again. Like, I had everything I needed and I had everyone I needed. And now he might, you know, have all the money he needs, might have the house he needs, but the second part of that chorus might not be true anymore. And that's just kind of true for life in general. You're gonna lose a lot more than you gain, even if, you know, you gain status or money or fame, whatever. All those people that you came up with, you're gonna lose them eventually. Like, that includes parents, grandparents, cousins, even worse, you know, siblings. Like, eventually you're gonna lose more than you gain, and he's thinking about this actively on the album, which is why it's called Few Good Things, because those few good things are his family and his friends and staying true to himself and staying honest and all these other things he's pulling from, which is why, you know, at least in my opinion, the genres he's pulling from and sampling from really do feel more like folk music / classical R&B / again, Midwestern emo, at least on a couple of songs, because that's just kind of that reflective acoustic riffs and shit that he's throwing into all these songs, and it's really good, man. It sounds very different than Care For Me, but it's so distinctly Saba, especially in terms of how he flips samples, how he adds texture to his music using different hi-hats or using even just different objects as hi-hats. Like, I think on a couple of the songs he uses like a glass, which just adds even more texture as the song's going on, to how he records his voice. It's just, man, Saba's fucking good, dude. If this ain't enough to convince you to listen to this album, I don't even know what to say. This shit is fire. This shit is fire. Also, all the features, fucking G Herbo, Black Thought, Shmino, Black, oh my gosh. They were all locked in. They were not half-assing anything they did on this album. They were locked in. So yeah, that's what I think. This album is definitely worth a listen. This shit definitely, man, I don't even think this thing had any skips on it. Even with the one track I don't really like, I don't skip it. Like, just, it's that good. The album is that good. I'm sorry that these daily uploads that are supposed to be daily uploads aren't as daily as they should be. Just so you know, I spin the wheel multiple times before I start working, so there's like 7 videos in the works right now. I'm gonna try and keep it within less than 5 days next time. I'm gonna try and get these up more quickly. I've just been kind of feeling a little bit of writer's block with certain scripts. I don't want, you know, the reviews to sound the same. I want them to be like honest and shit. So just been click-clacking away, but I'm getting off my ass, I swear. Thank you to the coffee supporters. Links in the description if you would like to help out 2 of my friends that are also content creators that have been affected by the LA fires. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.
Double back when you got it made. 30 racks of weed, no fat in the collard greens. Off top was me, no.